all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oops, I suppose I should have called the meeting to order first, but it's okay.
Close enough.
It's okay.
We know
Approval of the agenda. Any additions or deletions, Amy?
I have nothing.
Okay.
Well, I just got mine now and I'm reading it and I don't see any problems for me, so no.
Then we'll approve the agenda.
Is that a motion?
I'll second that motion.
Motion to approve the
Tim.
agenda. Motion by Tim,
Second by
second by Dean. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. No. Motion carried. Approval of the minutes, July 12th, 2021.
Move for approval. Second.
Okay, motion by Larry, second by Craig to approve the minutes from July 12th, 2021. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of financial reports, July 2021.
Give that to Dean, no, he doesn't have his.
We just have the one loan out there, huh?
Correct, it's just A-Town
Mm-hmm.
right now. And they're obviously making payments, all is good.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Matt, second by Tim to approve the financial reports, July 2021. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. 6, new business. We have no business, new business. So we'll go to old business, A with the dog park. Amy, you wanna give a update?
We applied for the Southern Minnesota Initiative Grant, we've also received over $3,000 now towards the dog park, so we're really trying to get enough money so that the city doesn't have to add any money. We'll do a small amount if we have to, but the city doesn't wanna pay for the dog park, so we're fundraising.
And we should find out by the end of August
Correct.
on the grant. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
So they'll only just match what we've raised?
They,
SMIF?
we have asked, it was a matching grant, we asked for a little over $6,000, I believe.
And they match what?
Cash,
They
they
match
match their
what?
cash.
Yeah, so we'd
So we have to do some more
gotten-
fundraising, cause the
Okay.
total budget was a little over 12,000.
Okay.
A little 3,000 more.
So we need to raise,
Mhm.
some more money.
It has kind of been trickling in a little bit.
It has,
Well, it wasn't gonna be an overnight project, so.
no, we knew that.
Now, I have one question about the dog park. If we get that grant, how long do we have to spend it?
A year.
1 year, okay.
So if we
So
get
if
it
it
at the
gets
end of
too-
this year, we can do it next year.
So big article in the paper to get fundraising.
To
Yeah,
get the rest of the money.
I've been trying to, I did reach out to a few people and, Dave and Dee check gave $500 and, so it's slowly coming in, so.
Did the Knights give a little bit?
Yeah, do we ever get
We
the
need
check
the
though?
check.
Oh, well, I would be writing that out.
Yeah,
And
it's
we okayed it. We
Yeah.
okayed it, but I was
about 3
thinking,
months ago
No,
and then.
we didn't get the check,
Well,
no.
we will be, and I gotta look back now to see what we okayed because,
Yep,
yeah, it
it's
took over the,
250.
okay.
And once we get closer, I know the VFW is gonna,
Yeah.
yeah. We tried for 500 and we got 250. And the VFW has
Said they would give
pledged,
us
but they
something.
haven't set an amount yet, so.
Okay.
Okay, next B, Hemp Heaven. Amy, update.
Good
Still-
news?
No, I still have nothing, I haven't heard back from them. No news, they have until October, is they have to start construction in October.
I think they should be called Hemp
It's
Hell
August
instead of Hemp
now.
Heaven.
They really would need to get us their site plan and get going on that so they can begin construction.
One of his pipe dreams over in Michigan went to hell last month, so I
Oh,
think he's got a whole swallow of money that he's gotta come up with for the state of Michigan.
so ours is not gonna happen, is what you're saying? Okay.
Now, did we change the deed, or did we, as
Not
Ross
on-
suggested, we keep it until something happens, we don't have
That,
to
the
fight to
first
give
one we
it
did,
back?
that was Tony,
Okay.
after going through this, and what happened in Greenough from experience, from past experiences, but not with Hemp Heaven.
Okay.
Ross will have to get that one back for us.
Okay. Any other questions, comments about
What do you
him?
value that property at? So if another company comes in and says, here's a bunch of cash for us to do something with it, how much do we need?
Oh, I don't remember what that property's valued at. It
There's-
would be, just be a guess if I guess right now.
Cause it's about 20 acres, and I think it was 10 for the nickel property, so I assume we'd be what, 15 to 20?
No, we have the commercial lots policy, it's based on the number of employees they bring in.
Yep.
So if they can give us 15 full-time equivalents, it's $1.
Okay.
If it's 10 full-time equivalents, it's $5,000.
Okay.
And if it's 5 full-time equivalents, it's $10,000, which is what Tony
Yep.
pledged 5 full-time employees.
Okay. Any other questions, comments on Hemp Heaven? If not, we'll move to C, Data Meadowcraft Incorporated, the deed applications and tax abatement.
So Data Metalcraft, remember Gene O'Brien was here at the last EDA meeting, he introduced himself. We have applied for the job creation fund for him, and we're not trying to skip the EDA. The EDA is not eligible to apply for that program, it has to be run through the city council. And speaking with our financial advisor, Shannon Sweeney, I'm gonna give a shout out to him, he has been super helpful, helping me with all of these different programs we've been applying for. They'll be applying for the MIF program. We had the public hearing at the city council level because that will also go through city council, as will the tax abatement. I know it had been set up here that tax abatement applications come through the EDA and go through the EDA, but Shannon Sweeney asked that we hold the public hearing for that and do the resolution through the city council. And I have gotten some numbers. We've applied for job creation money, which is I think about $400,000. It's dependent on the number of employees he brings in, which he's looking at bringing in almost 50 employees. And they're also applying for the Minnesota Investment Fund. We'll be asking for $1 million for that project through the Minnesota Investment Fund. He's also requesting tax abatement, and I just got the numbers back from the county today. 15 years of tax abatement, Arlington's portion of 15 years of that increased tax abatement would be $626,760. So that's quite a bit of taxes. After he does all his improvements, his tax bill will be $129,789 on that property. I believe it's currently $22,000 are the taxes on there, so that'll be a significant increase. So we're working on the tax abatement paperwork right now. Shannon Sweeney and I were going back and forth on that today. So you'll see that as a public hearing on the city council for that tax abatement. We're just going back and forth on some language in the documents for the tax abatement right now. And it will probably be on the September 7th council meeting because we have to give 11 days notice in the newspaper, and we missed the boat for August 16th. We cannot give 11 days if we get it in this week's paper. Clearly, so.
Now, does Chino go before the school and the county to get tax abatement, or
No,
does the
that's-
city help, or?
He's not asking for tax abatement from the school, which I'm not a big fan of, and I usually don't recommend that. Let the school have their tax money. He will be asking for it from the county. The county's filled out their paperwork for 15 years already. You know, the county doesn't usually grant 15 years. I plan to go to the county board meeting when this is on their agenda, which is not on their agenda yet because we're still all trying to agree on the language for these documents. But I plan to go, the mayor plans to go, Gina will go to the county board meeting as well to ask for that 15-year left there. The total at Sibley County would be $433,740 for 15 years. They're asking to abate.
Now, what is the common practice of the county? Is it 10?
10. It was always 10
Annually?
years when I worked there.
Okay.
They wouldn't do 15, but there's different county commissioners now than when I was there, so there's some new ones
Now,
there.
would it help if any EDA members or council
You are certainly welcome
members?
to come as well and
Would it
support
help?
it. I think so. There's always
Okay.
pressure. You know, if
Or can
somebody's in
we-
the room, it's harder to say no.
Or can we call county commissioners, or is that out of our, are we micromanaging them?
I would prefer you show up at the meeting. It's hard to say no to somebody who's actually there.
Okay. Any other questions, comments on data?
Well, I was wondering if anybody stopped at their booth at the fair.
I did.
I did.
Yeah, I did, and talked
Pretty,
to Mike.
pretty impressive, you know, they're taking job applications and everything, and, you know, it's an indication that they really wanna come here, and, I thought it was pretty encouraging.
When I walked up to their booth, they were having a beer and pulling pull tabs. They were looking for one that would win them a trip to Arlington and pull tab. Get them to town free.
Did very well.
That was Thursday.
Yeah,
I was on the
think
phone
so.
with him and he told me that
Oh,
he
yeah,
was doing
I
pull
remember.
tabs.
He said, Amy.
Yeah.
We were there right then when you called, yeah.
Okay.
Him and Mike were there. They were
Mhm.
having fun and they liked our little fair, so.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
Feel little to me.
probably the biggest.
Well, that's the way you sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments, questions?
Any other questions about that process? They are scheduled to close. I mean, everybody say your prayers. They're scheduled to close August 31st. So by the time we meet again, we'll either have this business or not.
Mhm. With
So-
Can you get the phase 1 and phase 2 stuff done by then, or?
They're working on the phase 2, I understand already. I did reach out to the company, they've hired an engineering company, Pinnacle Engineering is doing the
Oh.
phase 1 and phase 2, if you're familiar with them.
Nope.
And
No
that was
problem.
part of my deed applications, and I just made note, Pinnacle Engineering is performing phase 1 and phase 2. It sounds like the phase 2 will go very fast, because the phase 2 was triggered because they found some of these containers, like 55-gallon drums inside there with some chemicals in. They just needed to do for phase 2 a couple samples outside to make sure there was no outdoor storage of chemicals.
Okay, we'll move on. EDA Director update on businesses and housing.
Last time, somebody asked, I don't know if it was you or Howie, about Tony Huff when he was closing. He closed July 28th. He's ordered his building materials. So he's getting ready to go.
I've seen his vehicles in town
He's
a
been in
lot.
town a lot more.
Yeah.
He also got the slabs ready for the Cywick, for the villas are going up right now. Tony did that work, so he's working on those. I did post something on social media about this, the villas were available. Got a call from Cywick a couple hours later
Oh.
saying, they got so many calls. She had said they were overwhelmed at the office. They got so many calls about those rental units. I said, I told you there was a need for rental units here.
How many were there gonna be again? 8?
8 in total. They're putting them up 4 and 4.
Okay.
4 right now and 4 like in September they're gonna start. But I said, I told you you'd rent those out. Huge demand for that. We also received a call from someone looking at putting up twin homes in town. So hopefully that moves forward. They're looking at some land over across from, what is that apartment complex that used to be for seniors? Highland Commons.
Highland Commons, yeah.
It's across from Highland Commons over there. They're looking at putting up twin homes, townhomes. So housing, doing very well. The price of housing is high here. I saw one listed, one of the new home constructions that was listed, it was over $300,000, so.
Out in the Frenzel edition?
I think it was a Miller Homes one. And we
There
have,
are 2 basements going up there from
we have
Friendsville.
2 new, building permits for new home construction again, so let's keep it going.
Mm-hmm. The prices are high all over.
Mhm. Our housing prices are slightly higher than Greenhow. And I'm not sure why, because they're closer to the metro area, but we're about 15,000 higher.
Has a guy from New Prague, has he ever indicated, I mean, he still owns the land, right?
Chris
Witt,
Witt.
The lots?
Witt, yeah, yep. But I don't know, I don't think he'll come unless we can have at least half of one spoken for.
But I think he would, but he needs to do some advertising on his own as
Yeah.
well. These other companies are, yeah. He needs to put some sort of skin in the game here, and I think if he built one, he would get rid of it.
Mhm.
He really would, because housing is going
Well,
here.
based on what happened with Kay Schumacher, is
Yeah.
how many bidders did they have?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why he's.
And his would be a touch nicer yet, I think.
His
than-
would be.
than Kay's, yeah.
Mhm.
And I talked to someone at A-Town Tavern, one of the bidders on
Mhm.
Kay's, and we decided that if somebody would build a twin home, we'd sell both halves. But
Too bad Arlington Developers isn't still going.
But Jim Kraft told me they would do one if somebody was buy one.
Oh, is that
He
right?
didn't
He
ask
did.
him.
Should we reach out to Chris Witt again?
I'm gonna
I
give him a
know
call myself.
someone, yeah, give him a call and tell him, come on. Everyone else is building around here.
And then you would tell him to build one toward the east end of his 3 lots instead of
You get the
toward the
point now.
west end, right?
Oh, why?
Because the east is further away from the bull arena and the
The horse arena.
noise and, yeah, yeah.
That's only 4 days of the year.
Oh,
Be up
okay,
in
well,
cabin if that's-
that's a good attitude.
Give him a call and, yeah, tell him, that's
Yep.
what's making him,
And what were the numbers again for K's? What did that go for?
I bid 25,000 more than they were asking, and they weren't even in the running.
And they
So-
were asking 180 something?
205
Oh,
minimum.
205 they started, oh, okay,
So it had to go for more than 230,100.
wow. Huh. That's amazing.
It was nice nice
Mhm.
twin home.
Yeah,
Wrong side of the street for me, but
yeah, better to get the southern sun in the winter to keep the heating bills
Well,
down.
that's
Oh,
a matter of opinion. My wife likes the sun in the winter.
But Witt,
So,
he owns the ones on the south side of the road, doesn't he?
yes.
Yes.
he
They
owns
would
on
face
both
north.
sides.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but are the ones on the north side twin?
I don't know
I
if
think-
they
I
are
think-
on the
I
other
think
side
only
of the street.
southern ones are.
I think only the
Set up
southern
for
ones
twin.
are. And I don't even know if they're truly set up for twin home lots or not.
Any other questions, comments? I know Howie, we were hoping he'd be here tonight. Apparently he has 2 new businesses coming into his building on Main Street.
Then he'll be full.
I'm not, yeah,
Yeah.
he was pretty excited about it, but I'm not sure which ones or what, not sure the name of the businesses, but
One is she insurance? And one is financial person.
okay. Hopefully next month he can give us an update. Okay, number 9, planning and zoning update. Philip Mangus III, planning and zoning administrator.
Hello, anyone hear me? Okay. So, there's really nothing much to update, minus 2 homes are being built in in the city that's on Friendsville Drive, which Amy mentioned. Other than that, I am currently working on issues with the CUP, getting a CUP amended for Peeps repairs. We're also doing a workshop, hopefully next Wednesday, discussing cleaning up the code, because as I keep digging through our records, there are massive discrepancies in our code and massive contradictions, and my predecessor's not following our city code. And beyond that, I'm also working on a 3-step variance process. Step 1 and 3 are already done. Step 1 was the administrator exception process. Step 3 is the public hearing. Step 2 is administrative review. which pretty much all that means is, depending on if you meet certain criteria, it gets taken for review to Planning and Zoning Committee, and as long as we see nothing wrong with it, it won't need a public hearing. But if it does need a public hearing, then you'll have to wait till the next month for a public hearing. Other than that, it's just trying to streamline the stuff, because as we get more business in here, most of them will most likely need a variance in a CUP, depending on where they're going. It all depends on their business and things and where they want to go. So also with lots being cut up and things like that, so I'm just trying to make sure that we can streamline that so there's no confusion and a breakdown in our code, in our system when it comes to our code, as you all are aware, as it currently is, given one particular incident that has just opened this whole Pandora's box.
What
So,
is CUP, Philip?
conditional use permit, that's what a variance, that's what you all call a variance, because if you go for a public hearing, then you pretty much get a variance, i.e. a conditional use permit, where you can build this as long as you meet certain conditions and things like that. But beyond that, there's really nothing else going on, so.
Is Peeps gonna do something and he needs a CUP?
Well, this is the thing, he has a CUP, however, it was 10 years ago when the CUP was, created, and his business has grown, and it just doesn't work for him, because, based on certain conditions and things like that. Also, there are conditions in that CUP that contradict our code. One example is, it says for an interim use permit, he can put a storage container on his property for up to, and every 5 years, renew his interim use permit. Now, under Minnesota statute, that's perfectly fine. However, our code states that you can't have it for more than a year.
Oh.
So it's, like I said, my predecessors really didn't follow the code that was created. So I am here trying to clean that up. And on top of that, it more or less just, this whole, particularly with Peeps Repairs, came to be because the neighbor had some issues with it. So we're trying to work it out, and we'll see where it goes from there. If they can't come to an agreement, then we're gonna need a new public hearing and take it from there. So I think the way Planning and Zoning handled it last meeting, I think we have a pretty good idea how this is gonna go. Well, I do at least. I can't go any further than that, given I don't know, I'm just speculating. But beyond that, there's really not, like I said, nothing serious. I've had a few calls about some things people wanted to build, but no one's really sent me anything. So, yeah.
I see
Okay.
a fence has been torn down at the old.
For legal reasons, we should not talk about that anymore, because this has devolved into a legal battle now. So
Oh.
I would highly recommend just letting it lie.
Yeah, and this is a different
He's
house
talking
that
about
they
something
just
else.
tore their fence down.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought you were
Yeah,
referring to
no.
the one
No,
situation, because that has gone beyond the 30 days that was required, and therefore I just recommend we just let it lie, because
Mhm.
it's being
But
resolved.
now, like this other person is a new person that just bought a house in town, and they've already torn down the fence. It was just a side property fence, so I'm assuming maybe they're not putting another one up, but they might not know all those in the last
Well,
city building.
I've had a few people, I've had at least 2 people come in about fences
Okay,
for their property.
might be
so-
one of them. Yeah, it might be one of them.
Beyond that, it's nothing, when it comes to the fences, it is what it is. We have to follow the ordinance. To be honest with you, it's not that complicated. It's pretty straightforward. It will be, whenever it is, it is. It's just, it's a pretty straightforward ordinance. I don't have much authority over it based on the ordinance. Planning and zoning, I have to follow it, so,
Okay,
Everybody's got their own opinions.
I know,
yeah,
yeah.
yes, they do.
okay. Thank you, Phil. Director and board comments, anybody? Okay, does somebody wanna move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Tim, second by Matt, to adjourn my first meeting under 30 minutes.
That's nice, cause I have a 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that'll work out.
All
good
in
for me.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Thanks,